Hello everyone and welcome to Sunnybrook Park in Toronto, Canada for the World Flying Disc Federation's Club Championships in Ultimate. Hi, I'm Rob Weller along with two expert and very fine Ultimate players, Scott Gerst and John Vorhaus, who are going to help talk through the Men's Open Finals today. And we've got two terrific teams. First, a team called Big Brother from Boston, Massachusetts, and another team called New York, New York from, of course, the Big Apple. John, let's start with Big Brother first from Boston. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, they've only lost one game this whole tournament, and that was to fellow Boston team Earth Atomizer. They've got strong, solid offense and tenacious man-on-man defense. They're definitely a Big Brother team that's worth watching.
You think they deserve to be in the finals?
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt about it. All right, Scott, how about New York, New York?
Well, what can you say about New York? For years, they've been one of the best teams in Ultimate. Top to bottom of their roster, they're stacked. They've got great athletes. Expect to see a great game out of them.
With over 1,200 players here this week, 68 teams from 17 different countries, it's boiled down to an all-American Men's Open Finals. So let's start the action and see how Ultimate's played.
The team that's throwing, it's called the pull, will raise their hand, and when the receiving team is ready, someone on their team will raise a hand as well. And then play will start.
Big Brother from Boston pulling now to the team from New York, New York in the white, Boston in the lavender.
And we are underway. New York with the disc about 10 yards from their own end zone. They quickly move it up to around midfield. There's a quick shot for the end zone. Kenny Dobbins is free for the score.
So New York immediately, within the first few seconds of the game,
taking control.
With goal number one. It's called a goal.
That's right, a goal.
Or a point. And basically, let's talk a little bit, John, about what happened there.
Well, New York put the disc in play. They made one throw to a man who was open to throw, and he made a long throw. That's called a huck, long-distance throw from literally one end of the field to the other. The receiver broke free on a man-to-man against a man-to-man defense and made a real good play to get open and score.
Now, both teams have taken positions once again in the end zones, but they've switched sides, Scott. How come?
That's correct. After every goal, the teams switch ends. That's to negate any field position or wind advantage that there might be on the field.
So New York now pulls the disc as it floats ever so gingerly down toward the end zone of Boston. Big Brother.
That's a great pull because it gave the New York defenders time to get down and match up on their offensive men.
Does it make any difference whether you catch it or let it drop in the end zone?
If you make an attempt to catch it and you don't succeed, if you touch it and it drops to the ground, that's a turnover.
Now, what's happened? Play has stopped already.
We just had either a pick call or some kind of foul or violation, and any time that there's a violation called, play will stop, the players will sort out what happened, and then they'll put it back into play.
Now, how does it get put back into play?
The defender will touch the disc.
He'll count 3, 2, 1, touch the disc, and play will resume.
Now we're back. Same team has the disc.
A Big Brother moving about 10 yards from their own end zone. They go to the far side of the field. Number 84, Johnny Barr, with Ben Yasadi on the mark. And Mata Phillips pops out towards the middle of the field.
Defender has to stay how far away from the offensive man?
When they're guarding the person with the disc, there's a big hammer throw for the end zone. Knocked away. Not a great throw there by 00 Steve Mooney.
Now, what does that mean?
Basically, they'll just have to keep running until somebody scores a goal.
Skip Kuhn looks stuck on his own end zone. Nice play out, Mike Turoff on his own goal line.
Is this a man-to-man defense?
This is a man-to-man defense we're seeing right here.
What's the New York team trying to do at this point?
Nice try by John Gertz to save that in bounds.
But the fact that one of his team members did not catch it means it's a turnover.
That is correct, and now Boston will put it into play from approximately midfield.
Is there an advantage having it in play closer to their goal?
Of course, you have less distance to go. They got a nice turnover there. Big swing cross field. They're now about 15 yards out. Steve Mooney directing his offense. They'd love to tie the game right here. Nice flip backhand. There's the man in the corner for the score. Nice sliding grab.
You will see over and over again in this game that there's a spirit of courtesy that underlies it, which says if the play is going organically, we'll just let it keep going.
And we have a light breeze today. How will that affect the disc, if any?
Probably won't affect it at all. These guys are such great throwers that this mild wind won't affect them. As a matter of fact, a lot of people like to have a little bit of wind because with the aid of the wind, they can make the disc curve a lot more than they would be without. Nice throw to the middle of the field. There's team leader, Kenny Dobbins, shot for the end zone. They have a man posted up. Oh, a nice defensive play in the end zone. Boy, I thought that was going to be a goal there.
Now, in any way, can that defensive man from Boston interfere with the player in the goal?
No, and I
It
think
looks like a foul was called.
That's exactly what they're going to say happened. I think the receiver on New York is going to claim that Jeffrey Williams went up and hit him while the disc was in the air.
Which means what?
Which means now we'll take it back to the point where the throw originated from, since Jeffrey contested the foul. He said, I didn't foul you. The guy said you did, so essentially it counts as a do-over.
If they both agree that the foul had taken place, then play would resume where the foul had taken place.
So New York will try again, and Boston will try to keep him out of there.
Shot for the corner, standing about 10 yards out now. Pat King on the backhand. Steps around. Shot for the end zone for the score. Number 10, Dave Blau. From number 13, Pat King in New York goes to a 2-1 advantage.
And once again, we're going to be playing to 21. First one to 21 wins the World Championship, or at least wins, they have to win by 2. Very spirited crowd here. There's a good turnout in Toronto for the finals.
New York right now encouraging their defense to get a block. From watching New York and playing against them all these years, their offense is great, make no mistake about it, but they win games with defense. They win games by laying out, put their face in the dirt, and getting a block and a good turnover.
Interestingly, Boston says that's what's going to win it for them, too. They think their big, strong man-on-man defense is going to make the difference.
I think we had a foul call. Now they'll put it back into play.
Just a little quick discussion. In Ultimate, what really wins it? Is it the...
Whoa. Oh, and that'll be a foul.
Almost everything in Ultimate, any dispute will result in play resuming where it would have continued if there had been no dispute.
So it's just, hey, whoops, I bumped into you. I'm sorry, let's keep going.
Now moving towards midfield. Steve Mooney just short of midfield. Oh, and a drop. Maybe distracted there by the defender running by. They got a man deep. They're going to take a shot at it. Dave Blau for the score.
New York picks up goal number 3 and quickly takes a 3-1 lead over the Boston Big Brother. One of the enjoyable aspects for me, not knowing much about the sport of Ultimate until I got a chance to watch this week, is the incredible faking, the rapid ability to toss in those 3 fashions, the forehand, the backhand, and that magnificent hammer throw over the head where the disc goes upside down. Incredible little device, that disc.
Well, all of the players are right down there on the field, so if you can put the disc up in the stratosphere where no one can get at it, then it's safe.
Nice pull. That drops just in bounds, so they'll have to play it from the sideline, which is exactly what they wanted. Now in their own end zone, Big Brother. Nice throw.
This is a little similar to perhaps soccer in the dribble and the setup, if you're familiar with that sport. What happened, Scott?
I think of the throw in the end zone, the defenders on New York are going to claim that the throw actually touched the ground in the middle of the flight, and technically if the throw touches the ground, it's considered a turnover. In my opinion, even if it grazed a few blades of grass, it didn't affect the flight of the disc, so I think that they should play it just as a good throw.
All right, so they're not sure. Now what happens?
A disagreement, they're going to take it back to where the infraction occurred or where the disagreement occurred, and they'll play it from there.
John, do we have any impartial observers on the side that can assist in any of these decisions today?
That's an awful darn good question, Rob. Yes, we do have certified observers watching this play, passive observers. They'll be called in, but only if the players can't resolve the dispute themselves. There are no referees as such in Ultimate.
Nice defense by New York. Again, they stopped Big Brother on their own goal line, so they only have about 7 yards to go for the score. Juano Flores to John Goertz. Looks off Woody Lewis. John Goertz goes up top. Nice throw. Blair O'Connor in the back corner of the end zone, and New York has staked themselves to an early 3-goal lead.
4-1, New York over the Big Brothers. Is this a good time, Scott, for perhaps a timeout?
I think that's exactly what we've got here. Yeah.
All right, let's listen in and see what's going on in the huddles.
It's obvious that the crowd here is definitely anti-New York. They're gonna hate to see us win this. They're gonna hate it. They're gonna hate every second of it. But let's keep it very clean. Let's not get in any arguments. Let's not make it ugly. Let's put on a show of efficient, perfect Ultimate. Hate perfection. You can hate it all you want. You can despise us. But they're gonna have to look at it. They're gonna have to look at it. We're the best, and we're gonna show it now. This New York. Every single point, you guys. guys.
Long way to go,
The
New York.
defense looks good. The transition could be better. We got to crush. We got to crush them every single point. If we keep their offense on the field, they're going to die. Fact! They have 7 guys on their offense. Fact! We have 20 guys on our D. Fact! There's no way they can run with us. Fact! They can't run with us now. Fact! They can't run with us at the next point. Fact! The next point. Fact! The next point. They can't run.
You can see the incredible intensity in the New York huddle. Obviously, these guys are fired up. They've got a 4-1 lead over Boston. And as we look at the Boston huddle, boy, it looks like there's a bunch of heads hanging already, John.
Yeah, it sure does. New York definitely has the early psych advantage, and they're exploiting it for all they're worth. I heard him say in the huddle, they know the crowd's against them, and they're eating it up.
And yet, how it maintains that kind of intensity and that sort of honor and sportsmanship is beyond me. We don't see it in the NFL. We don't see it in the NBA. We don't even see it in baseball with guys taking pitches at each other and tosses and yelling at the umpires. This is a whole different ambiance, if you would have it.
Well, that's a little bit of magic that we call the spirit of the game. Every player knows what it is. Every player respects it and adheres to it, and it's what sets Ultimate apart from every sport in the world.
Pull is in the center of the end zone. That a good pull?
It gave him a little bit of time to get set, but Big Brother really didn't take advantage of that.
If you get the disc fast, if it's not a great pull or a low, hard pull, what advantage does it give you, Scott?
Well, you got a couple seconds to get a few free yards before the defense has a chance to set their feet, and you want to maybe get 25, 30 yards on the first couple passes, which they didn't do because they're still with their backs to their own end zone. Now John Barr standing about 30 yards from his own end zone. A little confusion in the middle. They go far side. Then we have a pick called. There was a collision there in the middle of the field.
We saw these, the number 9, number 16 on the Big Brothers. That's, golly. Mata
16
Phillips.
is Mata Phillips. Yeah.
That's number 99. That's
99.
Kid
Kid
Runkle.
Oh,
Runkle,
that's
yeah.
Kid Runkle. I only saw one of the 9s. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Now,
the reason
they got jammed up in the middle?
Well, they stopped because Mata got, I guess, what's called a flat tire, where somebody stepped on the back of his shoe, and everybody stopped just to make sure he wouldn't get hurt. Since it didn't affect the play, they'll take it from where the pass wound up. Nice little pop up the sideline. Forehand shot for the end zone. John Barr for the score.
Important goal for the Big Brothers of Boston. 2 goals now for them, 4 for New York, John.
Well, you saw right there, that's just a sheer physical ability. You get a big man streaking to the end zone, you can put up a throw that's might be a little bit iffy, and he can cover a multitude of sins for you.
4-2, Scott. What's this mean early on in the match?
I thought they're still in the process of feeling each other out, trying to establish a rhythm. This is the opportunity that Big Brother has wanted, and they have a chance to pull and set up their defense.
We'll see if they can walk it like they talk it now.
It's number 58, Lenny Engel, with the horns on his head. He's somebody to watch. Great defensive player.
What do the horns mean?
Not really sure. But all I know is he will never really be further than 2 feet away from the man he's covering. Nice
the
play
dig.
on defense. That's number 24, Jay Seeger on the defense. Jay just threw for that last goal and came back and got the block.
He is stoked.
He's a happy guy.
And the crowd seems to approve of a good defensive move just as much as they do of a goal.
Well, because they know that a turnover could equal a goal, so it's every bit as important as a goal score.
Now we got Lenny at midfield, swings to this side. Nice shot up the sideline. Standing about 10 yards out, points for the far corner. Kenny Dobbins with a block.
And block.
Great anticipation on defense to get up and block that one.
Dobbins coming out of absolutely nowhere.
And you would look at him and you would think, well, you know, he's a short guy. There's no way that he can stay with these tall guys. But if you watch him in the pregame warm-ups and you have an opportunity to see during the game, he's got some springs.
Maybe he's got some springs built into double knee pads that he is wearing, those black knee pads.
That's just that's a ruse. That's just to lull the opponent into a false sense of security.
Doesn't make any difference if you catch it on your knees?
Nope, just so long as you catch the disc before it hits the ground.
Swing across Dave Blau. Now Dobbins on this side. Looking forehand. Takes a shot into the end zone. There's Skip Kuhn all alone.
They're just taking shots 30, 35 yards out. They're just bombing them into the end zone. They've got all kinds of confidence right now.
5-2. 5-2 now. New York over Boston. Early part of the match. Sun breaking through the high scattered clouds here in Sunnybrook Park in Toronto, Canada, Ontario. Lovely, lovely setting. 16 fields have been active all week as Players from Sweden, from Finland, from Australia, the Swiss, the Venezuelans, and the Americans have been vying to see who would play in this World Championship Finals.
And we're back into play. Disc will drift out of bounds. Big Brother will put it into play from the middle of the field. This is a very important goal now. We're at the point where a goal for New York makes the score 6-2, and that sounds a lot different than 5-3. And Moons pops out on the near sideline. On the forehand, steps around, takes a big shot. They set that play up. They spotted the mismatch. John Axon cannot get to that.
We almost had about a 65-yard score there. That's the longest I have seen in tournament play this week. It was a matter of inches.
Yeah, great effort there by John Axon. What they're going to try to do now is I'm guessing they're going to try to isolate on the guy. He's in bounds. They're going to say that he jumped from out of bounds. There's going to be some discussion on this.
If his last point of contact was out of bounds.
Let's listen in, see what we hear.
It's active lines right in front of me.
He was right in front of me, too. The observer's right in front of you.
Come on, Pat, you know he took off from out of bounds.
I was looking at his feet, and I assumed the observer's were.
Active observer's call. It's observer's
I
call.
don't give a shit. It was so fucking clear.
Turnover. You landed in, you took off from out. Wait a minute.
Turnover. Tough team, New York.
In the line.
New York. Come on, Boston, right away.
Back off the line.
Pat King, move back, please.
Well, they're going to play that as a turnover after consulting with some people on the sideline. Even though he landed in bounds, he jumped from out of bounds to catch that. So his point of reference or his point of contact was out of bounds. So they play that as a turnover.
Scott, did you see the observers involved in that one?
I don't even think they went to the observers on that.
By the way, is the observers' word final in this match if they can't resolve it themselves?
Yes, once they consult the observers, once both teams agree to consult the observers, then the word of the observer is binding.
But they won't go to the observers unless they can't resolve the dispute themselves.
Nice diving attempt by John Goertz.
The offensive player has how long before he has to get rid of the disc?
10 seconds. There's somebody free up the line. That going to stay in? Ooh, I don't think so. Out of bounds.
Close twice now for Boston. They missed just by a matter of inches on a long toss, and he was out of bounds on this one.
Yeah, now they did get an observer call on that.
That's going to be too high. Who's going to get that? John Goertz comes down with it. Nice pickup on the overthrow by John Goertz.
And could Jay Seeger have ripped that out of his hands as they came down?
Absolutely not. Once it's in possession of the offensive player, defense cannot take it away.
And it looks as though we've got a timeout on the field now as New York with 5. The Big Brothers of Boston with 2 in the men's World Finals here in Toronto, Canada. Well, we hear Boston trying to get themselves going out there.
Yeah, they got to generate a little bit of psych here.
All right, what's going on out in the field now, Scott?
The offense has called a play, and they're going to set up and make sure that the play they've called is going to work, depending on what the defense is. And Steve Mooney is now directing his defense, telling them which way he's going to try to force Dave to throw.
So the defense has something in mind, and the offense has something
That's
in
right.
mind.
There, they ran a player out of the back of the stack, but they didn't have it, so they just go back to their normal offense.
A lot of bodies flying.
Absolutely. It's a non-contact sport according to the rules, but there's a lot of contact with the ground, a lot of guys diving, a lot of incidental contact, so these guys get pretty beat up by the end of a tournament.
The defensive player taps the disc and it goes back in play.
That's correct.
They've been watering this field the last couple days and rolling it literally with huge water rolling drums to try to level it out, but it is a little slippery. It walked out before the match.
It's in great shape. It's a better field than most of us practice on.
Now they go up the sideline, standing about 20 yards out. Black to the middle, Blair O'Connor for the end zone. John Goertz, a foot out, flip for the score.
Once again, he can't carry that in from any point. He especially has to be careful around the goal.
Exactly. His first point of contact has to be in the goal.
New York now really showing some strong domination at 6-2 early part of the match. We've been underway now a little over 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is Big Brother's first gut check. They're down by 4. They're going to have to suck it up and show a little bit of stuff here.
Are they out of it at this point?
Oh, no, not at all. But they got to go back to throws and catches. They have to have good, solid offense, and they're going to have to force some turnovers.
I like this sport a lot.
Everybody who sees it falls in love with it. It's just very easy on the eye. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's great to watch. And everybody who plays the game has such marvelous spirit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big selling points and something that I'm sure you've experienced over the course of the week here in Toronto, is that there's marvelous spirit and camaraderie among all the players, no matter where they come from.
Nobody asked me to play this week. I'm a little hurt.
Oh, that's not true, Rob. We asked you to play, and you didn't want any part of this.
That's because I'm about 90 years older than you, Scott. All right, the pull down in the end zone. It was off to the right side, Scott. Does that make it a good pull?
It helps them a little bit because, again, they have a little less field to work with if they start from the sideline.
This is Boston with the disc.
And now work up the sideline. Nice backhand flip. Moving nicely now past midfield. They go back to the middle. On the far side, Tommy Evans now.
Boston smells a goal, if you ask me,
Nice
Scott.
flip. And that's over. There may be a foul call on that. You heard the New York players yelling, he's new. This Tommy Evans is a new addition to the Big Brother team. Played for the last couple of years for a team out of North Carolina. Real good player, real young. They're trying to prey on his inexperience, but I don't think that's going to work.
His nickname, as I understand it, is Baby.
Yeah, Baby. He, if you get a good shot at him, he looks like he's about maybe 12, 13 years old.
All the cutting, weaving is by some sort of preordained move.
Yeah, it may look a little helter-skelter to the new observer, but each of these players has positions. They have certain plays they like to run. They practice 2-3 nights a week. They know exactly what to do in the situation. It's just a matter of executing it properly.
Back in play.
It's Lenny Engel now on the far sideline. Weaves back to the near. Mata Phillips pops out to the far sideline. There's Tommy free. Can't get it to him.
Good defense.
Step around. Is that foul called? Is that a goal?
Something was called. Obviously, we stopped.
Pick call.
A pick call.
That means the defense felt that his play was impeded by somebody else on the field.
So
he just couldn't catch up to the man he was covering because someone blocked his
So
way.
the action at the goal line was insignificant at that point.
Now we go back into play.
And it's another pick call. You see this a lot down in the end zone because all the players are crowded into the end zone and there's just not as much room to move.
I got Walter Vanderstraff on defense, number 9. Generally recognized as one of the most pleasant, good-natured people playing the game right now. Somebody free. Little hook throw. Is he in? No, he's not in. Standing right on the goal line. Has about a yard to go. There's strip called.
A strip, Rob, is when the disc is knocked out of the player's hand while he's still in possession of it.
That's basically a no-no.
Exactly.
Can't do that.
So they'll put it back into play.
Respect the offensive player and his disc. So he's got about a foot to go.
Got about a foot. That can be the longest foot that there is on the field sometimes.
And Big Brother really needs this foot, too.
They flip out. There's
there
Lenny
yet.
free on
That'll
the
do
far side. And there's the score. Nice play.
Boston needed that for their third goal. 6-3 now. New York over Boston. Slow, methodical, back and forth.
Boy, I saw a lot to admire on that play. The New York defense was just brutal against Big Brother, but they kept patient. They must have had 20-some-odd throws on that series, and they didn't give up. They didn't turn it over. They just worked it patiently until they found an opportunity to score.
Scott, both teams, New York and Boston, now have switched ends of the field after this goal, as they do every goal. Why is that?
In order to negate any field advantage there might be with uphill, downhill, or going into the wind or going against the wind, they'll trade sides after every goal is scored.
So Boston now 3 goals behind, picked up their momentum, picked up their intensity. They looked very good on that drive, and now they're ready to pull the disc toward New York. And one of the truly beautiful aspects of this game, in addition to the fine athletes that are playing, is the way this disc sails.
There's Jay Seeger on the pull. Jay had a big block last time down that sort of lifted them up a little bit, but they couldn't convert. So they're going to look for somebody else now to be a hero here and maybe get a block.
There's about an 85-yard pull.
There's Dobbins to Bob DeMann. That probably set that play up right out of scrimmage, right off the pull. Dennis Warson.
Now we're stopping the action.
And I think
the disc is going back, and it's a travel call.
A travel on the throw.
And nice round of applause because Dennis Warson just threw that hammer throw about 60 yards back to the exact point where the disc came from.
Earlier in the week at Toronto's beautiful, beautiful Sky Dome, we saw a new world record. It was a different disc, but 415 feet a disc was thrown.
Yeah, it was Chris O'Cleary, who plays at the Women's League for Atlanta Ozone. There's a floating throw. Gonna have some bodies up. Bob DeMann pulls that down.
The tallest of the tall from New York.
Pops
Reaching
it back
sky
to
high.
Cribber.
Love to see him slam dunk a couple.
Shoots a flick for the end zone. For the score!
Nearly knocked down by one of the Boston players.
Yeah, and you can see how the offensive player was distracted on that. That's called a flyby.
A flyby.
When the defense goes by the disc, it doesn't actually touch it, but distracts the defense enough, the offense enough to drop the disc. But he stayed with it. He made the catch.
Terrific concentration for goal number 7, 7-3 New York over Boston.
He saw Dennis wasn't really happy with that throw. He sort of grabbed his head after he let that one go and realized maybe that wasn't the best throw in the book, but it did the trick.
New York with a 4-point lead over Boston in the men's finals here in Toronto with the pull. Back over to Scott Gerst for the play-by-play.
That's a great throw. You want to measure from the goal line. That traveled about 100 yards there. Gives the defense plenty of time to set up. Mata Phillips will walk it up and put it into play for Big Brother.
Where does he have to put it into play?
He'll put it into play at the goal line. He'll walk it up to the goal line. We'll see. Maybe they set up a play for one of their big men too. So keep an eye for one of those guys in the middle of the pack to break deep.
Boston down by 4 goals early on in the match, men's finals.
There it is, big shot for the end zone. Oh, nice effort there by Jeffrey Williams. John Gewirtz is going to punish him here for laying out. He's going to step it right back up and put it into play.
That's twice we have seen 2 Boston goals missed by only
Ben
about
Yasadi, oh, just off the hands of Dennis Warson. And that's down. A lot of bodies flying on that one.
Nice layout defense.
There's John Axon. He's free. Look for Steve Moody. Didn't see him. Mata Phillips now, middle of the field. Axon cuts back. Little flip. Lenny Engel now on the forehand, steps around to Steve Moody, now 10 yards out. Now we got a pick call and we'll bring it back.
A pick call, a defensive man interfered with as he was trying to guard against one of the offensive men.
That's correct. Somewhere in the middle of the field there was a little congestion and somebody ran into somebody else.
John, what are you thinking about as that disc is coming towards you on the field?
Well, a couple of things. You want to keep your concentration going on the disc. A lot of times you hear people talk about hearing footsteps, which is fearing the defensive man is going to come over and make the play. You tell your players, go to the disc. Just keep going to the disc, run through the disc.
Now we're back in. Steve Mooney shot for the far side for the score. Steve Mooney to Lenny Engel. Beautiful, low, floating forehand cross field.
And John, that's what they call going horizontal?
Going horizontal or going ho. A full extension layout like that. That's about the prettiest play in Ultimate right there.
So Boston with a fine goal effort there now moves within 3 of New York, 7-4.
That's right. We're going to see the Big Brother defense come back on the field. We're going to look for them to try and force a turnover here and get another quick goal.
Let's go, defense! Come on, dogs! Come on, D-Dogs, take it away! Come on, Boston! Come on, Boston! Boston! Get a block, Big Brother! Griffin!
Now we're back in New York, now working from our left. Pat King underneath to Ken Dobbins. Little flip to Dave Blau.
I would imagine they'd like to get a goal here, get that 4-goal lead again.
Absolutely. We've heard a lot about the Big Brother defense, but they seem to be a couple feet off their man. There's the hammer throw to the end zone for Pat King for the score. New York making it look easy.
I'd say it took them, what, 12, 15 seconds to get down the field?
Yeah, it was not very long at all. They didn't, they went through Big Brother on that one like a freight train through the wind.
How many matches will you end up playing on a given day, Scott?
Well, the World Championships have been held over the course of 6 days, and each of the teams has had approximately 2 games a day. In the course of a normal tournament, which is held on a weekend, you can play 5 games on Saturday and 4 on Sunday to get to the finals of the tournament. Big Brother now puts it into play again. They're right at that 4-goal bubble right now, where a goal against them right now would really hurt, put them down 5. They run Steve Mooney out of the middle. They don't have him. Instead, floating backhand flip. Nice catch.
Jumping ability, timing abilities, obviously critical in this game, huh?
Very critical. Nice defense there. That throw is a little bit errant. Defender in the right place. New York picks up now about midfield.
Can they take advantage and put the game on some sort of an early ice basis?
There's a big backhand shot for the corner. Nice catch. Was he in?
The observer
yes.
He was, yes.
Nice catch over there by Frank Valenti on a beautiful throw by number 23, D-Man Weidenman.
New York scores, now takes a 5-goal lead, 9-4 over Boston in the finals here in Toronto. Still early on as we've got to go up to 21.
And 13 points into the game. I don't think they've consulted with the observers yet. There's Dennis Warson, nice big yank downfield. That's going to drift out.
You know, the players like observers for the line calls because they know that they don't often have a good look at their own inbounds and out of bounds.